killing me with this. Y'all killing me with this.
Robert.
I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my life.
We can't get in trouble for that intro, I don't think, right?
You didn't.
You didn't. I didn't what?
You got to do a big clap over your head if you want the video to sync.
Oh shit, son.
Do the levels look good?
The levels look okay. Yeah, want to do it?
Yeah, go ahead, do your hand.
All right. I thought we was finna do it together.
No,
like,
why? We need one.
We only need one. Okay, gotcha. Makes sense. Nah, that's what's up. This is another episode of Spit Sessions. We are trying to record a video.
Yeah,
while we're
look right
recording
into
an
it for a
episode.
long time.
Yeah. Oh, I thought we was really finna do that. Is this camera on me? Yeah, it's been an eventful 2 weeks since the last episode. Do you want to jump into what we were doing before we start talking about stuff, or because that intro, you have a taste of what we're going to be discussing this time, at least like a little bit. But I mean,
man, that's tough.
That's a little bit tough.
That's a lot of responsibility to put on my shoulders. That decision right there.
Oh, really? Okay, I understand. Well, for over the last 2 weeks, I've been taking care of myself and going to the doctor.
Were you?
That's
You spent 2 weeks straight going to the doctor?
Well, yeah, on accident. Well, I had a doctor's appointment, got things checked out. They took blood, urine, just to make sure everything was cool. Everything was cool, which is fortunate. But I've been having some stuff that I want to get checked out specifically, and they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna get you an ultrasound just in case." And I was like, "All right, cool, I'm down with that." So I had a 6:40 appointment. I showed up at 6:30. I'm waiting, and around 7:15 or 7:20, they're like, "Hey, have you had your ultrasound yet?" And I was like, "No." They're like, "Oh, they're telling me that the technician left." So I was like, "All right, do you want to schedule for next Wednesday?" And I was like, "Can I do it sooner?" Like, "No, we only do it on Wednesday." And I was
What
like,
hospital is this? What?
This was like a clinic, I think. Not a clinic, but just like one of those
Urgent care? What is it?
yeah, one of those like offices where the doctors go and just work outside of the hospital. Initially, they tried to send me to like Park Forest or some shit like that. I was like, nah, I'm gonna just do it here. So I had to wait a whole nother week in order to go and get my shit.
And
checked
you were
out.
having abdominal pain?
Nah, it was, I don't know if it's like a hernia or some shit like that, but my balls hurt. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, hey, I'm gonna get my balls checked out.
Oh, so that's why you were, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you were posting on Twitter about getting your STD test, and I'm sure they just wanted to knock that out to make sure.
They thought, they was just like, I was like, nah, bro, I think I'm good. But you know what I'm saying? I went and got the ultrasound yesterday, and it was a very interesting
testicular
experience.
torsion.
Yeah, or potentially, I don't know. Like my balls hurt, so I was like, I'm gonna just get this checked out. So I show up, the dude's there. I could tell he's probably upset that I was his last person of the day, and he was gonna be fucking with my balls probably because he had this just.
So
like,
did they put
aura.
the cold gel on your testicles?
Yes. Here's the play-by-play. I showed up. I walk in, and he was like, "Have you done this before?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, all right,
I have.
Go ahead and take your underwear and your pants down." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I laid down.
Did he say nice?
No, dear God, no. And I laid down, and then he was like, "Hold your penis up," and I was like, "Okay." So I lifted it, and I guess I had it off to the side a little. He's like, no, straight up. And I was like, okay. I'm laying flat. I was under the impression that he was going to like hold my dick for me, but I mean, he just
if he can make you do it, like I'm sure that's how
Yeah.
You're trained to do it. But if he
Yeah.
can make you do it, then
No, yeah, for sure. You don't want to like fuck around with it. But that's what's up. That jelly was cold as hell, dude. It was
Yeah.
cold and very sticky. My gooch was like a slip and slide afterwards. I wasn't really fond of it, but it's all what you got to do to make sure you take.
Did he throw tissues at you? Or wait, did you?
At the end, he was like, "Here, wipe yourself off." Like in Rush Hour, he was like, "Wipe yourself off, man. You dead." That was a bad line, but yeah, no. He didn't throw him at me. He just laid him down and was like, "All right, go ahead and clean the gel off." But we did not make eye contact once we were done. I think it was more so on him because I looked at him and was like, "We all right? We good?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, you can go." I was like, "All right, cool. That's what's up." And I just walked on out. So that's happened.
Did you get results from the ultrasound? They should know immediately.
I don't think the ultrasound people. I think a doctor needs to check results in order to like let you know what's going on with that. I don't
So
know.
you
if
got an
ultrasound
ultrasound
technicians-
yesterday then?
Yeah, I got one yesterday. So they should have results by tomorrow. See what's up with that. And we'll, they'll get back to me and let me know what's going on. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm like, all right, cool. But nothing like having someone you don't know fondle these nuts on a nice Wednesday evening, I suppose. But I've been streaming. That's what's up. Made affiliate. It's fun. It's a good time. It's gonna be a long time before I make partner on Twitch, but
How many followers do you need to do that?
I don't think it's a matter of followers when it comes to a partner
Or
it's
views?
like the stats. Yeah, you need to average 75 views per stream or some shit like that. And right now I'm at like 3.7, so it's gonna be a while before I get there. But that's what it's all about. You just can't have everybody hopping on the platform and just like going straight to partner. So it's a grind. I'm excited. Got some stuff in the works for the channel. I'm trying to link the podcast and the channel as much as possible. If you guys are listening to this and you like video game shit, go ahead and check out both of our Twitch channels, which we might have mentioned in the last episode. I have the same username that I have everywhere else on mine, and then Reggie's is Zoot Suit Zombie.
Yeah, I had to change it slightly because for some reason on one thing out of everything, it is taken.
Exactly. It's an A instead of the I.
Yeah, I had to work a lot, but I'm off for an entire week, so maybe I'll stream some stuff.
Okay, yeah. I'm down if you want to co-stream some stuff or whatever. Like, let me know.
I haven't played Call of Duty at all.
I have. And you know what's fucked up? It's like very nostalgic in a way, but also it was like unlocking the Xbox 360 in me. Because I started, I was mad. Like, motherfuckers was camping. I was playing with people, and people were just coming out the cut on bullshit. And I just started getting more mad and more mad.
So to people who don't know, for free this month on PlayStation, you can download the old Call of Duty multiplayer.
Exactly.
Which is like, that's what made everybody go crazy for it, and then they started adding jetpacks and weird shit, and I stopped playing it.
Got out of pocket a little bit.
I used to get it every year, and I don't think I've gotten it for like 4 years now.
Yeah, they do release that every year, like 2K or some shit like that.
They release everything every year now.
Yeah,
that's why games suck. Like Assassin's Creed comes out every year, Far Cry comes out every year
for no reason. I really don't need a Far Cry game every year. I didn't get that New Dawn shit just because Far Cry 5 kind of. Like
I barely finished Far Cry 5, and I was just like, it was only, I only enjoyed it because I played the entire thing co-op, basically.
Yeah, nah. Honestly, that's the only way to play
I did see Captain Marvel like 2 days ago.
Oh, I need to see that movie. I've been looking forward to it.
No spoilers here.
Yeah.
It was fine.
It was fine.
I think, it was better than Iron Man 2 and what are the other ones that people
Of course,
don't like?
wasn't Iron Man 2 the
Whip,
he's fighting
Whiplash?
the Whip dude?
Yeah.
It was good. It was an okay movie. It introduced War Machine, but other than that,
it was just I feel like the first half it was kind of weird. Like, I don't know if it was the writing or the directing. The Marvel movies, they kind of figured out that formula of like, hey, this is a really serious scene, but then a funny thing happens, and it just all just kind of works.
Right.
It, for me at least, it wasn't going that smoothly in the first half of the movie.
Right.
But other than that, like, yeah, Brie Larson runs really fucking weird, and I looked up online and I didn't see anybody else talking about it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm weird.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that I run better than her or anything. I'm sure I look
weird?
worse.
Is she like pigeon-toed or bow-legged?
So they show her from the side running and it looks like pretty fine. But then whenever they show her from the back, the way that her feet kick up in the back, it's like she's trying to run goofy.
She's Siphon Filter running?
Like the way that her legs move on their way up, if you're looking at it from the back, it's like crooked and weird.
Yeah.
It looks like they're like, okay, let's do a goofy take. And then they just film her running, but it's in the movie. Okay. And I was like looking around like nobody else sees.
There's like nobody paying attention.
But yeah, she was good. Samuel L. Jackson was really good. And it made me remember how great he is. Cause he's been like yelling black guy in a lot of movies.
Exactly.
But he got to do a lot in this movie. And then the bad guy was good.
Okay. I want to check that out. I'm
acting wise or whatever. But yeah, it's worth seeing. This movie is I understand that the movie is not for me. I'm a man in my 30s, and I don't read comic books anymore.
Right.
And I've never read a Captain Marvel comic book.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I'm sure kids are fine with it. I'm sure little girls are going to have a really awesome time with it. But if you're my age and you don't like it, you should probably just understand that it's not for you.
Mm-hmm.
The Dumbo trailer came on before the movie, and I was like, I don't want to see this at all. But I'm not going to get mad because it's not made for me.
No, you shouldn't.
And I think, we get tired of remakes and everything, but I think to be fair to the Dumbo movie, like the first one came out in the 20s or some shit, didn't it?
Yeah, it was
30s.
Yeah, it was back then because the Crows were Negroes on the lowest of keys.
Right, and they want people to forget about that.
I'm not.
So, I mean, it's been almost 100 years. They could remake the movie.
They can. They can do what they want. All right, it's cool. So we knocked those two things out. Now we can get straight into what the intro and the outro is about. R. Kelly, it seems to be all crashing down. It's like a game of Monopoly. He ain't been in jail a good 2-3 times. He ain't got out a good 2-3 times. Crying at the camera. I mean, it's just happening.
I think he's so used to being able to manipulate the circle that's close to him. He must have really thought that going on TV and would have helped him.
Is this camera on me? Use your common sense. It did seem fake, right? Like it was just exaggerated, like quote unquote.
That's
emotional.
a tactic that people use,
right.
Like cheating. Maybe you're cheating. What are you talking about? And then you get more mad than them, and then they have to start being defensive. But it's like you're talking to a journalist.
Yeah,
they don't give a fuck.
She kept it real smooth.
People should start talking to you like that. Like when you talk about spitting in butts, somebody should say no. Somebody should be like Gail and be like, Delancey.
Oh, they do that already. That already happens.
Is that the tone that I should read the response?
No, it is.
Okay.
Like a lot of times, if you like, I don't know why you would, but if you search my name, you'll see someone going Delancey with a period, and the tweet it's connected to is me saying some outlandish shit, But I live for it. It's kind of fun. It's real cool. It keeps us connected as a community. Yeah, it can get kind of fuego. Unturn the heat off.
I think it's the lights.
It is the lights. Unturn the Oh, for those that can't see this, obviously we are recording, like I said, and Reggie brought 2 porno light boxes, so they're aimed at us in order to catch like our good sides potentially.
Well, I got a very cheap video camera.
Yeah,
and it's not bad. It records in 1080p, 60 frames a second, but it needs a lot of light to look decent. So I bought this lighting kit, and we're making do. And if you think that we should have a second camera, you should blow up Delancey's inbox and make him buy it.
Whoa, nah, give me money. Why did you skip? Why did you skip the give us money part and just go straight to
he's been spending a lot of money on his testicles lately. So
hell yeah,
donate to the $100 camera fund.
Exactly. I will say the thing about being video recorded is I'm more hyper conscious of my positioning and my posture.
I'm just leaned all the way the fuck over like a caveman.
I know this is okay. It's all good. Like a troglodyte.
I just crawled out of the primordial ooze.
Ivan ooze with the nonsense. But the thing about that interview that I picked up were people saying that it seems like he's being challenged by a woman and that he's reacting like this so he can make an attempt to manipulate the situation into his favor, which I kind of sort of just understand. But her composure was really, really good while he was like spazzing out and screaming. I don't think he was going to attack her or do anything to her. It wasn't that serious, but it was an attempt to manipulate the people watching.
Yeah. He wanted to make a scene and get some empathy, but it's like, dude,
right?
Everybody knows what you're doing. I'm surprised by how many people want to defend him. And we don't need to move off on this yet, but like I did watch that Michael Jackson movie too.
I didn't. This is going to be an interesting
Well, I started it and I didn't know it was fucking 4 hours long.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. We don't need to move off of R. Kelly. I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward though, so we can, because it's just like, we know what you're doing, we know what's going on. You're going to jail, you're getting out of jail. Well, whose auntie keeps bailing him out? Is it the same woman each time? Or
I did not read enough to know if that's a fact or not, but I think it's when you abuse someone in a certain way and for a certain length of time, I think you're going to have people that are just going to be ride or die like that because they don't know any better.
Like Stockholm syndrome type shit.
They got their brains all fucked up. Well,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that those women that live in his house and all that, they don't work, they're cut off from their families. Like, he's all that they have. So they have to make sure that he's doing okay.
Right.
He's created this whole scenario where if he's gone, then they have nothing. They have,
Yeah, nah. That's why he's in the situation to begin with, but that's really weird. I didn't see the videos of analysis individuals watching the video and breaking it down, but
I didn't either.
A lot of meme worthy shit came from that. My favorite is use your common sense, which he ironically did not do, which is why he's in the situation. And is this camera on me? That's a favorite of mine. And the fake crying, he's just like, I'm trying to connect with my kids. And I said that he's been trying to connect with multiple people's children, which is why he's in the scenario that he's in. Not to make light of that, but
I'm actually surprised by how many people are coming out defending him, but it's still not that. Like, he can't help his situation.
No.
He just needs to, he should have just stayed quiet, gave up, done everything through a lawyer, publicist, whatever.
Exactly. Like he's been doing. Have you seen the video clip of that person during the interview with his attorney or lawyer? This dude was walking to get his ID. He was like, my bad, y'all. I don't mean to interrupt y'all interview. And the guy was like,
what?
You didn't see that clip? This shit was very, very funny to me because it was some of the most Chicagoan shit I've seen in a while. This dude was like, I guess he might have worked there. He was like, hey, I'm going to get my ID. He was like, my bad, y'all. I don't mean to walk in front of the cameras or whatever. And the lawyer or attorney was like, hey, no, go around this way. He was like, no, I'm going to go this way. What the fuck you mean? Goof ass. I was like, all right,
was this
bro.
live or they like
this
kept?
Was live.
Okay, because I was like, why would they keep that in?
No, it was live. There was no taking that out at all.
Ooh, I'm fucking all this up.
No, you fucking up. It's okay. Yeah, so that shit was funny as fuck. But we'll just see what happens, paying attention to what's going on. It is what it is. Now, when it comes to the Michael Jackson documentary or video or whatnot, I'm still going off of the fact that, from what I understand, this happened when I was a child. But the older we got, of course, he wasn't convicted or arrested he might have been arrested. I can't recall. But nothing happened or came from that because I was under the understanding that a lot of people came forward and admitted that they were coerced by their parents or were lying in the first place, or the police were after them. Like, it was a smear campaign. There were multiple things in there that made it something that people didn't want to take a second look at because they were like, all right, this is what's going on.
Well, what's interesting to me is I remember growing up and my family being like, oh yeah, he's clearly touching kids. At least that's how it was in my household.
Yeah.
Well, the reason that he never went to jail or anything is because he would throw money at the situation. So, if you're a regular family and he's like, okay, $10 million and we'll settle this out of court, what helps you more, right? If you're being realistic, $10 million or Michael Jackson in jail, but you still poor and can't afford to send your kid to college. Like, yeah.
Right.
And then the trial that went the farthest, the kid described his penis the wrong way. Like, I think he said he was uncircumcised when he wasn't, or something to that effect. And look, that could have been the one kid who was, the one family that was making it up, or it could have been, I don't know. I'm a kid and some man took his dick out and I don't even know what a foreskin is. So I'm just going to say yes or no, and it's 50-50. That could be the case. This is a
high-pressure situation, so I don't know how to really react to it.
And then his doctor came out at some point, I think in the 90s, and said that he believed that Michael Jackson's father had him chemically castrated to keep his voice high.
What?
But that has never, ever been confirmed.
Yeah.
And I would venture to say that doctor was lying to make him look better.
Oh, geez. Yeah, how would you chemically...
So the movie, it follows these two guys who are adults now, and it's interesting. So one of the defenses for Michael Jackson, too, is that Corey Feldman was like, well, he never molested me, and Macaulay Culkin says, well, he never molested me. But you look at the kids that he was spending time with, it was always regular ass families. Right? So I think you get starstruck and your defenses go down. I think the parents are still incredibly stupid, but if you're super working class family, Michael Jackson decides that he wants to be friends with your family, taking you out shopping, flying you to Neverland Ranch, bringing you on tour, bringing you backstage, you're meeting all these famous people, everything's paid for. You're just so focused on being caught in that lifestyle. And then 4 months into it, they're like, oh, little Timmy can just stay in my penthouse tonight. We'll watch movies all night. And then the parents are like, oh, yeah, sure. We'll just go to this hot tub. So that's basically how that was happening. So Michael Jackson, as much as he was legitimately a weirdo, he wasn't stupid. And I think there's a big risk. Macaulay Culkin's parents, they've caught flack because their whole thing is they wanted famous actor kids. So they know about the business and they made money. Like Macaulay Culkin had money. So if Michael Jackson says, hey, I'll send a limo to pick you up, and then Macaulay just stays with me tonight, they'll be like, we got our own limo. The fuck, we don't need. Right. They're not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Right. That reference is a little bit on the nose.
It's a whatchamacallit, Eddie Murphy reference.
Yeah, no, I got you. I get it. Yeah, I was like, no, I feel you.
But so basically, they very slowly and painstakingly show how he was methodically, slowly groomed them, kind of separated them from their family, or distracted the family. And they went into very graphic detail about the encounters that they had with him and the things that he liked and the things that he wanted to do. And that was, that kind of hard to watch, but informative nonetheless.
That shit is usually triggering for me. When the R. Kelly documentary first came out and I was reading someone's like very, very detailed and graphic encounter with him, it kind of fucked me up for a little bit.
I still haven't seen that because I don't have Lifetime.
Yeah, and it was it was really rough. I don't know. I
guess long story short is I think it's clear that he was being inappropriate, and it's like we knew this whole time. So it's odd to me that this movie comes out and then now the creators of this, the producer of The Simpsons or whatever, is like, hey, we're not going to air that Michael Jackson episode anymore. And it's like, well, what does that matter? He's dead. He's not, like, he's doing the voice, but he's not pictured as himself. It's like, I mean, I guess I understand the sentiment, but it's like, we all knew. The people who, it's the same shit as this. It's like the people who didn't want to know were willfully ignorant, but I think the majority of people knew. He was walking down the street holding hands with kids like they were on a date. Like, I don't care how much somebody likes kids. Like, you don't see anybody doing that. No. And then for some reason, we decided as a society, or however many of us decided, like, well, that's Michael Jackson. That's what he does. Like, I mean, now my kids, he wouldn't.
Nah.
But I guess final thing about the documentary is I kept feeling like I recognized one of the guys, and it turns out that he's this famous dance choreographer who worked with Britney Spears and NSYNC and all this. Oh, really? And he used to be on MTV all the fucking time back in the day.
Which?
Like 1998.
The one that was in... Oh, never mind. That's not the one.
His name is Wade, I think.
Not the one that was in You Got Served.
Maybe he was.
Tall white dude.
Was the main guy?
No.
He was probably in it. Like, he was big. And there were rumors that he's the reason that Justin Timberlake wrote Cry Me a River, because he was fucking Britney Spears. He has writing credits for some NSYNC songs because he was hanging out with them so much he'd be in the studio. And he wasn't a musician, but I guess he'd be in the cut like, hey, JT, try this real quick. And then they did it. So he's well off. He has no reason to just come back and make this stuff up.
Yeah.
So I think that lends a lot of credibility, to their stories. And the filmmaker said that his style of interview really helps him suss out who's lying and who's not. So he said that he had each guy separate. He did a long form interview that was like a whole day. And, you know, they never tripped up, messed up their stories. Everything made sense. They were never confused. They were never trying to like go to another room, read something, reference something. It all came off very natural. So the director believes them. It's just fucking wild. Yeah.
So in conclusion, he did that shit?
But we already like, but I feel like we've been knowing this.
Shit. Maybe I was too young. I didn't like when stuff was popping off. I was probably, what years were those? 90.
Well, okay. What year? Let's see. What year did Black or White come out? I'm gonna look this up real quick.
Shit, that had to be 96.
Nah, it was before that.
It was before that? 95, 4? So I was 4 or 5 years old, or 6, in anywhere in that area.
Black or White came out in 1991.
I was 2.
And by then, he was already, like, Macaulay Culkin was in that video because they were friends already.
Yeah, I was 2.
Macaulay Culkin this was around when Home Alone came out, so what was he, 7?
Right.
Why is your best friend 7, bro?
Nah, that's...
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
That doesn't sit very well. Honestly, because of how old I was when stuff was happening, it was never something that I super duper looked into. First time looking back as an adult, I'm like, I'm coming to the conclusion that shit more than likely did happen based off the context alone. Because it wasn't something worth looking at for a child. Like, of course, as a child, I wasn't going to be like, did Michael Jackson blah, blah, blah. At least in my household, it was like not believed because it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what's happening? You need concrete proof. And then when it came out that a bunch of stuff was thrown out of court or settled or whatever else and nothing came of it, it was like swept under the rug, especially me coming into my teens.
That was the last thing I wanted to say about it. So the two people in the documentary, according to them, he called them and asked them to lie for him. So that was part of the reason that some of these cases didn't go anywhere, because he sent them out on a press tour to be like, hey, we're 2 of Michael's best friends and he never did anything with us. But in reality, he was doing things with them.
Oh, no. Yeah.
It's just, it got to a point where, the same with the R. Kelly thing is he separated them from their families. And it's like, I'm your best friend. I'm your entire family. I'm helping put you on. That guy Wade, he ended up kind of getting ditched because he got too old. But so he kind of helped make his own career. It's not like Michael Jackson just was like, okay, there you go and you're famous now. But obviously being around Michael Jackson helped. Right, so when you're 6 and your dream is to be a famous dancer and choreographer, and you get to hang out with Michael Jackson, who was at that time, the best natural dancer in the world,
right, and
go on tour and be in videos. He said that he got invited to be in the video and he showed up and there was another kid there and he felt like he got dumped, and he's not gay. Like he doesn't identify as gay. I'm pretty sure he addresses that in the movie. He has a wife, he has a child.
Right. But
when that's all right? Like your best friend and the way that the sex was compartmentalized, I guess, in a way, it didn't seem like they say that Michael Jackson wasn't out here penetrating them, but it was like an extension of cuddling or something in a way. The kids weren't thinking about it as sex because he was getting them, pre-puberty.
So, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But I don't know. We're shocked, and it's like everybody is being so reactionary to do these things after the fact to try to look better or ease their minds.
Yeah,
but it's like what's done is done. Erasing. I'm not saying hey, let's all go out and stream his songs right now, but it's like erasing history doesn't change the shit that happened. Like if we make a point to not listen to his songs, I mean he's dead. He's not. I don't think it's the same as the R. Kelly thing where it's like, hey, we don't
lock
want
his ass up.
We don't want him getting any money off of if we put "Step in the Name of Love" on Spotify.
I agree with that.
So I get that, but it's like it's Michael Jackson's dead.
That's a conversation I've had with people. I let them know that you know, if for whatever reason I just wanted to hop up and listen to XXX Tentacion, not gonna happen. But if I wanted to, I should be able to because he's dead, right?
And I would hope that his baby mama and child are getting that money.
Right. Like individuals
and that's not that bad, I
like
guess.
a baby. I wouldn't mind like the proceeds going to someone's mother or child, or you know what I'm saying? Because the worst thing in my mind and in my opinion that can happen to someone like that has occurred already. He's dead. They're dead. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, cool. So that happened.
Oh, the mom said, so they went to Michael Jackson's funeral, and one of the moms was like, I've never seen my son break down that hard in his life. So he was an adult, well into adulthood at this point, and he was successful, you know, but he understood that Michael Jackson had wronged him, and they still talked here and there, but it was very arm's length sort of thing. But losing him was still just totally fucked him up, you know?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. And thinking about how the root of that occurred, like via the wrong reasons, is kind of gross. Yeah, that's nasty. All right. So we spoke on Marvel movies before, which are movies in general. Spider-Verse ended up winning Best Animation during the Oscars. Did you watch the Oscars at all?
No, I do not watch the Oscars. But is this the first year they had that? Or it's one of the first years that animation had its own
Thing.
Yeah,
I think so.
Which I think is important.
I do believe so. And I was excited to find out that happened because that movie definitely deserved what it got.
Yeah.
The thing about Oscars was, I think Green Book won Best Picture.
Yeah,
which sparked up another conversation. I was interested in seeing like what it would be like and what was going on with the movie, but sparked up another conversation about white saviors in movies and people's attitudes towards those. And I think the family of the person that Mahershala Ali played, they didn't really like the way that his character was depicted in the movie, and I think Mahershala made an apology about that. But the movie was written by Caucasian dudes, and it was supposed to be from the perspective of the driver. People were calling it a reverse driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah. I read some articles about it, so I get the gist of it. It's fucked up because I don't think it's not, the movie wasn't made maliciously, you know? Yeah. And that almost makes it worse because people don't understand what they're doing. They're like, right. Isn't this a sweet movie and we're tackling racism? And it's like, you made this movie about the white driver and not he was a musician, right? The black dude?
Yes, he was a pianist.
And it's like, okay. And then, so what I gathered, I forget which article I was reading. This was probably like 2 weeks ago, right after we did the last podcast.
Right.
They were basically saying how the movie doesn't even explicitly go as far as to say that this driver is fine with black people now.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically showing he got as far as to be like, well, hey, this one I drive around is real good, so don't talk shit about him. Or maybe don't talk shit about black people as much around me. And I guess that's a step somewhere, but should that be the focus of a whole ass movie?
We know people like that.
You drive a black dude around for a little while and you're like, some of these blacks ain't so bad.
Negroes ain't that bad. Let's throw fried chicken bones out the window. Yeah, no, we know individuals like that. And being on the receiving end of you know what? You're kind of cool. Or, you know what? Black people ain't that bad. Or, you know what? That's pretty much the extent that it's gotten to. Because I'm trying to think of all the things I've been told. You're different. That's not really a compliment, but in their mind, it's a step in the right. It's a step in the right direction. That doesn't go over well anymore because people will call you on your shit. I think I wanted to check it out, but also I have conflicted feelings about checking it out because I want to see what it was that convinced these individuals. Yes, this is Oscar worthy. I didn't see Black Klansman, but it was up there as one of the films.
Yeah, I did see it. I thought it was. It's just so weird because, like, I was thinking about it the other day because I enjoyed Samuel L. Jackson in Captain Marvel. So I went back and I was looking at clips of some of his older movies before he was kind of typecast for a while. And, you know, he was in some Spike Lee movies. And I started thinking,
was
man,
Coming to America his first movie? It was, right? When
he was in Coming to America.
He was the guy holding up the Whack Arnolds, and Eddie Murphy fucked him up. With
Oh,
the
right.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You know, he was in Jungle Fever, and
Yeah,
he had really small parts,
right.
Even before that.
Jurassic Park. This motherfucker's been around.
Well, Jurassic Park was what, like 94?
Yeah.
I mean, he's
oh
been
no,
acting,
that wasn't his first, but he was.
Yeah,
in
he's been acting since the 80s, like small parts, and he slowly
started getting on.
He was in School Days for like 30 seconds.
School Days. Okay.
He was he was a townie that didn't like all the college people coming through acting better than them.
Oh,
and
okay.
They had a confrontation at a chicken place. But
chicken.
I guess what I'm getting at is, so I was thinking about, like, man, black people really turned on Spike Lee, you know? And I was thinking about how when the Chirac thing was going on, I was like, okay, I can kind of see why people are mad. But then I went and I saw the movie, right, and formed my own opinion. And the same thing happened with Black Klansman. You know, people were talking shit because I think they painted this guy in a more positive light for the movie. But I think when you take that specific case that they were on, you know, like, it's gonna reflect well on that guy. You know, he was spying on all sorts of people. He was a mole. I think they were saying against some black organizations as well.
Oh,
which is kind of like, meh. But that's not what the movie's about. And I don't know if shoehorning in, it's like, hey, after this case, he also did some stuff that fucked black people over. It's like, the movie's about this, okay? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, Black Klansman was good. It was funny. It was cool. It was based on a true story. I mean, that guy wasn't the greatest for his whole career. He's a fucking cop at the end of the day. What do you expect?
Here we go.
But
full circle. We got to get one reference.
But I'm just saying, like, yeah, like a lot of, I mean, you know, Twitter isn't indicative of the whole world or anything, but it was like, you know, Twitter specifically, but also just on the internet, they're like, man, I'm not about to see this trashed. It's like,
exactly.
He fucked up the Klan, bro. Pretend to be white. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. You know, you slide in, you do what you got to do, but
so you should watch it. It's out.
Okay. You don't.
It's on Redbox.
The thing I want to say is that I don't think, like, out of all the movies that were nominated for Best Picture or whatever the fuck the award was, I don't think Black Klansman was Oscar bait. You know, you see a certain movie and there, it's just like, all right, you're going for it. And not to sound anti-progression at all, but it's usually something that an older white person might see as pushing the envelope. Like this cis male actor is going to be a trans woman in this movie, in this role. It's a drama. It's real dramatic, and there's a lot of emotion. Oh, boom. Like, you can stamp it like, oh yeah, that's going to get an Oscar nomination. Let's see, something about slavery. Oh, how dare they say something so controversy? Slavery was bad. Oscar nomination. Because I think maybe white guilt kicks in a little bit for some of these individuals, or they know it's going to bring more attention to the Oscars because it's being more inclusive or diverse. But
black struggle shit and
black struggle shit.
You know, they'll have like it sucks because it makes you feel torn because on one hand you're getting some of the representation you're asking for, but the movie's not really about you. It's like they'll try to sell you on, okay, this is about a black lesbian paraplegic, but it's really about a white guy's experience with that character.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, fuck.
It's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? You know,
it's
what I'm saying?
The white guy feels about it in the end.
This is a black man transitioning into a black woman and her struggles, but it's told from the perspective of the white doctor from the suburbs.
Yeah.
You know, so what ends up happening is the person that's supposed to bring the inclusiveness or the diversity that you're asking for is a support character. And the movie is still about the people who made the movie because they identify with that person first and foremost. And the thing is, they think it's like, yo, pat ourselves on the back, like we're bringing this character in, you know, this is what people want to see, this is what, and I think that's what what happened with the Green Book, because it was like, no, you're doing it in a way where it's like, okay, like, no, it's still about you.
It might still be decent. I feel like I watch a lot of movies, but this year I didn't see like any of the Oscar ones.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that some of these filmmakers and actors are getting recognition, but it's like it still comes off as art as a contest to me. And like you're saying, Oscar bait is a fucking thing, and then animation didn't have its own category for a while. I've for most of my life I've never been interested in the Grammys, Oscars, any of that stuff.
No, I agree with you. All right, so there's a few small topics that I want to hit, but I'm gonna put them under the category of ass so that we can kind of get the foundation of how I feel about them. Not literal ass, but like figurative speaking, like this whole situation was ass. Let me see. Everybody was going on about the Khloe Kardashian and Tristan situation for a while. I don't feel like it's worth looking into or getting into. Whole situation was ass to me. Ass. Ass. Umbrella Academy, I finished it.
Yeah, I saw you were upset about the ending.
Ass. And that's the only one I'm willing to like jump into a little bit. Yeah. No, actually, there's another one I would probably jump into a little bit more.
So Umbrella Academy, like the first
episode,
half,
bro.
I was waiting. I was like, okay, there's some mysteries. This better be going somewhere,
right?
And then it started going somewhere, and then I was like,
ass.
It kind of. I don't think that I hated it, but it wasn't. I think I just knew it was gonna be one of those shows where you're never gonna get this sort of closure that you're looking for,
because they want that second season, I guess.
But even after that, I don't.
Ass.
So I read into the comic book, and that's not finished. I think they only did 2 books.
Yeah.
And It's been over 10 years since they worked on it, and they interviewed Gerard Way from fucking My Chemical Romance. Well, he wrote it.
Makes sense.
Gotcha. I was kind of getting into comic books again around the time that this came out, I believe, because I was reading, like Walking Dead, 30 Days a Night, all those like horror things, and people were like, "You should check this out," and I was like, "I don't think I need to read the My Chemical Romance guy."
It was so angsty. And like, I'm a fucked up adult. That shit was the Black Parade come to comic book / video form, because everybody was just like fucked up from their childhood. My dad's an asshole. I'm a drunkie. It was just a lot of that going on, and that's okay for character development purposes. But that ending, man, it's still on Netflix. I don't know.
Where they were like, "Whoops," and then they just transported.
Like, whoops. Hold on. We got
spoiler
do
alert.
this.
But you know what? Look, if you were gonna watch that shit, you should have seen it by now.
Yeah, come on now.
Like, if we're being real, people be mad sensitive about spoilers.
Ass. I mean, I try to be, compassionate when it comes to like dealing.
Well,
with
right.
that,
So for instance, Captain Marvel's been out for a week. I didn't tell you
some shit now. Yeah, that's
right.
That's,
I didn't tell you shit about the
dickhead
movie.
rule.
That would be dickish, Or if I see Endgame the first night, I'll be like, "Man, you see the way that."
I know somebody gonna do that because they know people been waiting for that shit. Yeah, ass. So yeah, ass. Anthem drop. That's a video game.
Man, fuck that game.
You know what? Ass. And I do want to get into this. This is what I want to get into.
All right.
Now, Anthem dropped, unfinished game, ass. People were saying that it was fucking up their PlayStations and shit. All right, that's ass. Rockstar, you niggas owe me. You niggas ain't shit.
Wait, what?
Rockstar? Yes. Hear me out.
Okay.
We bought Red Dead Redemption 2 back in like October or November or some shit like that, right? Cool. We played that. Story was amazing. It was phenomenal. It was cool. Deserving of awards because of the writing, the voice acting, whatever else. Fast forward a few months and online drops. There's not that much there. They got a few things. Guns cost too much. This costs too much. Okay, cool. That's what's up. I'm going to play it because I got people, we still high off the story mode. We're going to still kick it and play these, that, and the other. Fast forward another month. Nothing's added. Are we going to bring the gun cost down? Not really. Because you still have to use gold bars instead of in-game currency to purchase things. And the only way to make in-game currency is to fish and farm.
Well, you get those gold nuggets, but you be not.
You get fractions of gold,
right.
Gold nuggets. You get 0.1.
So wait, how much is a gun now? How many gold bars is it?
I haven't gone on to find out, but you can pay like 5 gold bars or like $300 for a gun or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So look, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, not that much has changed. No story mode. The whole time it says it's a beta. I think that is the finished/unfinished game. They just put beta on there so people can't get mad at them and hold them accountable.
Kind of.
People releasing unfinished games.
Oh yeah, all the time.
And saying like, oh no, this is just the beta, so we'll just add more, in-game things with this patch we got right here. It'll fix everything. No, they're still working on that shit, and they updating games as they go along. So we paid full price for, and that's been a thing with Anthem, Red Dead Redemption, what else?
Destiny 1 and 2.
It's fucked up. I'm
gonna slightly absolve Rockstar just because I think the single player of that game is well worth the $60. I will say, look, they sold us on the online coming out. But if you played GTA Online, you know that shit didn't really start hitting until what, a year and a half?
That shit didn't start hitting until well after the fact. But here's the thing, like there's comparisons to be made, because when GTA dropped, we didn't have expectations of it. It was like, all right, we're online, we doing this, that, and the other, and they add more to it, and what it did was it raised the bar for your expectation level. So now, because of GTA 5 online, which has been going and thriving and has been making mad money, the expectation is like all the way up here. So we don't have the patience to start playing Red Dead Redemption Online and wait for it to get there, because we have these expectations from GTA.
I agree with that. I got very mad because I got Destiny 1 like day one, because it was when I first got my PlayStation. Like I got my PlayStation week before Destiny 1 came out. And I played it and I'm like, okay, I beat the game in like 2 days, and then there's not a lot going on in the end game.
Right.
And then like, well, you could buy these expansions, and I'm like, well, that's fucked up.
Dick.
So I ended up trading the game in, and then I ended up buying the game again for like $15, but with all the shit in it. And then I beat all that really quick, and I'm like, this isn't...
It's fucked.
Well, it's weird because there's a lot of defenders of that game, and look, if that's what you want to do, I guess that's fine, but there's literally nothing to do but grind for guns that you don't really even have a use for, because there's no fucking gameplay to associate with it. That doesn't appeal to me. And then I got Destiny 2... because these fucking game reviewers be colluding and shit, clearly.
They be getting paid for that shit sometimes, to say something isn't as bad as it is, or they be fanboy.
Well, I don't want to be conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying, why the fuck did Destiny 2 get, an 8.5 on like every review score for the most part, when the shit came out with the same 3 enemy types, no new shit in it, the same issues from part 1, where it's like, there's barely any story. You beat the game in 2 days. There's no in-game content. And then they're like, well, you could buy these expansions. So look, Destiny 2 might be fun right now, but you're essentially being punished for getting it when it comes out. And it's the same thing with...
it's not worth it right now. It's never worth it in that moment.
Anthem 2, it's like... I was a big fan of BioWare because I liked the Dragon Age games. I liked Mass Effect. And then this last one that I bought for like $4 on PSN because it was on sale. I haven't played it yet. It had hella bugs. It was all fucked up. They built Anthem on that platform.
Yeah.
And then released it with all these issues with it.
Yeah.
And it's like... So you didn't... How can you release a loot shooter, whatever people call it, schlooters... these days, you release this game and it's worse than Destiny 1, and then you got fucking the Division 2 about to come out, which also the Division 1 I got day one, and that had the same problems that Destiny had, where there's just not enough shit going on.
No, exactly. I think, I'm gonna sound old right now because we grew up playing video games. I think both you and I have, and DLC was one thing because, all right, this was a component of the game that was supposed to be in the game, but you separated it and you want extra money to release something that should have been in the game from the first place. All right, we let that slide. I think it was just something we accepted. They started getting lazy and they just started dropping shit that wasn't finished and just being like, oh no, this patch will fix this up. This patch will fix this up. There's people still working on shit. We got to stand up and start burning shit down.
Yeah, you got to vote with your wallet. My issue is, look, if the game comes out a certain way, so Warframe is a good example. Warframe came out, it was struggling hard, and Warframe today is like not even the same game. It's night and day. A lot of people play it, but the difference with that is it's fucking free. It's a free to play game.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to pay $60 and get like a third of a game, and then a year later they're like, well, if you pay another $60 in expansions, then you'll really get the experience.
Fuck out of here.
And that's really still
fuck out of here.
Maybe you're scraping the $60 worth it, right? At that
Fuck
point.
outta here. Right.
I'm not about it.
No, I'm not about it either. And we got to stop the bullshit. Another last thing in my ass category is Megan Thee Stallion came out being a My Hero Academia fan, and niggas was like, man, she don't watch anime. She too thick and attractive.
So I saw that. What does she do porn? What is she known for?
She's a rapper.
Okay.
She's a rapper. And she's pretty good, actually.
Cool.
You know,
well, I'll check
I'll
that
check
out.
that out.
I saw that, and I saw her dancing in front of in a parking lot.
She was at the station, and she was still there. She was at the station.
What
I
station?
love that. The station.
The station?
Mm-hmm, it's the place you want to be when Megan Thee Stallion is there.
Hmm.
I'm making a reference. She was at the gas station just dancing around. She kept saying, I'm at the station. I don't know where the station is, but every time that video comes across, I'm speaking fucked up right now. Every time I see that video online, I have to start playing it, even though I know what's happening. I think she's like 24 years old or 25. Her voice is about as deep as mine, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I be liking that sometimes.
I know, it's a real sultry. It reminds me of like hot toddies with a little bit of cinnamon sprinkled in. But I mean, she's good in her own right. You know, she hustles. She's dropped a bunch of freestyles. She got bars. I heard a few of her songs. I'm impressed. I would definitely listen to it. But a bunch of these niggas was like, yo, she don't watch anime. Look at her. That don't make no sense. Ass. We've been through this already.
Yeah, it'll never make sense to me. It's like you watching TV doesn't make you special, and somebody else liking one of the shows you like doesn't take away from whatever you have going on. I get that, you know, people want to feel special and they want to belong to something, but watching fucking animated movies and shows or playing video games I don't know that should define you as a person to the extent where you get upset if the wrong people are enjoying it.
Yeah, it doesn't make
the
any
wrong
sense.
people.
The wrong people. The
Air
people
quotes.
that you don't identify with, or, you know. So there's that. All right. Cool. So now what I want to briefly touch on, but it's a little bit difficult for me because I'm not very well versed with law or contracts, is Kanye the West's contract. Have you heard about that?
Not really.
So what's happened is it was released.
Oh, where he can't retire? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Now, what I want to ask from you as a musician or a performer, multifaceted, everyday man out here making the musical tunes, individual, what do you have to protect yourself?
Me personally?
Yes, you personally. Do you at least have friends that can be like, yo, I'll take a look at this for you? But,
yeah. I mean, I know like 3 or 4 lawyers personally. They don't specialize in what do they call the entertainment law or whatever.
Right.
But they can give me basic stuff, and one of them has a record label.
Nice.
Super Records.
I think you told me about that. Yeah.
Namdi is on that.
Namdi is lit.
SOOPER. You could check them out. But yeah, I'm not doing anything at like a level that where that's important. And to be honest, so what a lot of artists are doing right now is they'll take that first contract and they know that they're getting jagged a little bit, but they'll do the things they need to do over the course of that contract to set themselves up. So, you know, you get your music's good, you're getting promos through your label, et cetera, you're touring, and you're doing all the social media stuff a little bit extra that you should be doing. Mm-hmm. Then by the time your contract is up, they'll probably offer you something else, and you'll be like, nah, I'm good. And you're an independent artist, but you already have this great foundation. It's not the same as like me being an independent artist, mm-hmm. where I have to be like, hey, listen to my SoundCloud. It's like you can already sell out, you know, medium to smaller size venues. You already have 2 records out. You already have, you know, merch, et cetera, et cetera. Your YouTube is good. So a lot of artists are doing that.
Yeah. So you have to pretty much have a work base and a foundation to set yourself up where you keep grinding and you keep doing what you're supposed to, and you can't rely upon the contract to. You
I
can't become
don't
complacent.
So I don't know the details of his contract or when he signed it, but I don't know why he would sign another. So like, Kanye's been big for how long?
For years, it's been over.
Like he had whenever he signed, do you know who he's with now?
I think the contract was with GMI or some shit like that. I
BMI?
might be fucking up some shit
I
like
think
that.
it's BM. So by the time he was at the cusp of signing this contract, he didn't need to sign a contract with anybody because he's a name. He's got millions and millions of dollars. He can't afford to make his own record.
No,
He doesn't have a studio in his house, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what are you really getting from the record company at that point?
precisely.
And that's what even smaller artists are understanding. If you saved enough money up where you can fund your own projects and you're going to get the money back from touring and selling and the albums and merch and whatever, then what do you need the record company for?
Precisely. So what I did was I asked an avid listener and constituent of mine who's really, really awesome to kind of sort of break down what it was, if she could, for me.
In that particular contract?
In that particular contract. So I have a voice clip right here, maybe about 4 minutes or so long, just kind of like translating or breaking it down for us in a way. Now, she did give me forewarning. This is not legal advice. This is just her interpretation. And there could be things a little bit different than what she says going on, but she did the best that she could to explain it. And I'm going to see if I can play this right now. But I was grateful for the information.
Hi, Reggie. Hi, DeLance. Thank you for having me. I know you guys know, but just for your listeners, I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. I could very well be wrong. This is just my interpretation of what's going on. So there are two cases happening right now. There's Kanye versus EMI, his record label, and then there's EMI versus Kanye. So Kanye's main claim is that EMI is in violation of California Penal Code 2855, which says that no personal services contracts greater than can be longer than 7 years. Kanye is arguing a contract that he has been in since 2003. Kanye is also arguing that since his contract should have expired in 2010, aka 7 years after he first signed it in 2003, that he should also be getting the rights to his music back. So this contract also concerned who gets the rights to Kanye's publishing, and Kanye signed away his publishing prior to 2003 and every year subsequent to EMI directly. Kanye has renewed this contract multiple times, but we'll get into that later. So this is also a matter of copyright law. Kanye's counsel decided to file this under the state of California anyway because they felt like the labor law was much more important. So EMI turned around and filed a countersuit in the state of New York. So in this contract, EMI has something called a choice of forum and a choice of law clause. And basically what those two things say are that in the event of a dispute, we're going to have this argument in New York and we're going to do it pursuant to New York law. So off the bat, EMI is saying this needed to be filed in New York. This clause needs to be argued under New York law. And they're also saying that under New York law, this kind of, it's like an indentured servitude type of argument, is illegal. And so that's like the first thing. Secondly, EMI is arguing that this is a copyright contract and a copyright claim more so than a personal services claim. There's a clause in there that apparently says it's specifically not a personal services contract that came up at some point in his renewals, and every time Kanye renewed the contract, he basically affirmed the non-edited writing in previous contracts, which dragged it over. So they're basically saying at some point we agreed and had to continue to agree that this is not a personal services contract. This is more so related to copyright, and Kanye is arguing for his copyrights back anyway, so this needs to be something that is done under federal law because you can't argue copyright under state law. It can only be argued under federal law. So that's another interesting twist. They are also saying that Kanye's decision to argue this case in the state of California, which is against the clause that they have saying that they would argue it in New York, is a breach of contract. So they're trying to get damages from Kanye on top of that as well. And even if everything rolls back to this, we need to argue it in California, there's a personal services issue, there's something called diversity jurisdiction, which says that when you have two different people who are in two different domiciles, which is essentially where you say you're from, that means, and the claim is for more than $75,000, which apparently this claim is worth millions, then it has to be adjudicated under federal law. So if all else fails, EMI is claiming that they have diversity jurisdiction on their side and that it needs to go to federal law anyway. And lastly, they're saying that Kanye, you renewed this contract in 04, 05, 06, 09, 2011, 2012, and 2014 with sophisticated counsel sitting next to you. So as far as we're concerned, we didn't do anything that would take advantage of you or be manipulative. You take this up with your own lawyers. They're the ones who failed you. Leave us alone. And so that is like the gist of the general argument on both sides.
Wow. That shit is layered.
Yeah, that shit, it's purposely like that.
Jesus.
They want to make their money, but it's just weird. I get that once you make a certain amount of money, like it doesn't even matter anymore because you can't spend it in multiple lifetimes.
Right.
But like I'm saying, I really don't get what he gets out of being on a major label like that. Yeah. He's Kanye West. If he's technically an independent artist, but obviously he's gonna have, his lawyers, his promoter, et cetera, all that stuff that is probably going to be assigned to him from a major label. He can just hire himself for less and not have to share profit with them, right?
Right.
Like let's say he wants to play the Super Bowl. Right. It's like, no, he's an independent artist.
Yeah.
He's not on EMI anymore, so I don't know if we can have him. Like, is that a thing? If he wants to play New Year's Eve and the ball drops, they're not going to let him, even though he's Kanye fucking West.
Yeah.
Anyway,
exactly.
Yeah.
If you guys also want to look at a brief synopsis, she sent me a link to fashionlaw.com. I think you can just go on. There's certain links, and it can break down if you're interested in that. What's going on? Yeah, I appreciate you helping us out with that. That was cool. I have two more things I want to bring up to you. I'm not sure if they're on your radar. There was recently a college scam ring.
With ICE or the rich people?
No, with the rich people. Nepotism is the word of the day.
It was so here's what's interesting about this. So initially I read the headlines and I'm like, well, we all knew this was happening, right? Like it's not illegal to donate to Harvard and then they're probably let your kid in, right?
Right.
But I just listened to a podcast about it. They were like having people take the test for these kids and all this extra shit.
Yeah. So your kid's stupid as fuck. You're just paying people to take the test for them, do these admissions entry essays and all of that other shit. So at what point was just having money not enough? I was under the assumption that if you had enough money, it didn't matter if your kid was stupid as fuck.
Yeah. But
I think they wanted to go the extra mile and have someone pass the test for them, I suppose. Maybe.
Well, you need. I guess in this day and age, especially, there's too much of a paper trail, so they have to get a little shystier with it.
Yeah.
I don't know that an accredited college can just give somebody a degree who can't
read.
Right. Like I don't know. Maybe they can. Maybe there's ways, but this is another one of those things where it's like, why aren't we just murdering rich people in the streets?
Get the guillotine out.
Like we're still letting them tell us this whole, hey, it's an equal playing field, bootstraps, this and that.
It's not how that goes.
Look, man,
It's not how that goes. And the first thing I did was think about that scenario a few years back where that girl tried to sue, stating some sort of affirmative action was in place, and people were getting accepted due to their ethnicity and where they're from, as opposed to their grades. And then it came out that she was just dumb as fuck the entire time.
You talking about the MTV thing we watched? No, something else.
I think her name was like Amber Heard or some shit like that. Am I thinking of the right person? Let me think. Hold on. I'm gonna do the research.
By the way, while you're doing the research, my dumbass said BMI for the fucking record labels.
Oh no,
EMI.
I said.
Do you know what BMI is?
Body mass.
Yeah.
Index. We some chunky boys. I said Amber Heard. Amber Heard is who was actually abusing Johnny Depp instead of Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture of his finger halfway cut off, man.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? Did she bite it off? That wasn't even a topic that I wrote down. I accidentally brought that up just now. Yeah, it turns out Johnny Depp was not the aggressor in their domestic disputes, and she was the one that was being abusive the entire time.
I could not care less, but it is interesting because I just watched Sweeney Todd with some friends, and they were like, man, too bad he be beating women. And I was like, yeah, that is too bad. And then like 2 days later, apparently she's fucking his ass up. But
yeah, I was like, wow.
But you know, you see that with non-famous people. Sometimes people be in relationships like that, like where they both just fuck each other up and won't leave each other. Yeah. Maybe they're on that kind of shit. I don't know.
No,
none of my business.
The dumbass chick's name was Abigail Fisher. Yeah. But no. So we just kind of double whammied that.
Yeah.
So all right, I'm gonna knock one out, and then I'm gonna talk about the other one. As far as Abigail Fisher, it was found out that she was just stupid, not smart enough. Well, no, I'm gonna take it back. She was stupid because she wasn't smart enough, and then she tried to sue for not being smart enough, which makes you stupid. So,
well, we just going off of that one documentary thing that MTV did a couple of years ago that we watched and probably talked about on the podcast on one of the early episodes.
Right.
Just going off of that, and there's multiple sources that will corroborate this. They broke down the numbers. I mean, white people are overwhelmingly getting into schools.
Right.
This idea that they're just letting minorities, thousands and thousands of men, taking everybody's place. It's ridiculous. It's not
silly.
Because there are people who seriously want to get rid of it. There are right wingers who want to get rid of affirmative action, and we're clearly not there yet.
Yeah, no.
And just to be clear, this whole bribery shit that they were doing, they still had to pay tuition on top of this.
Yes.
So they're paying like $1 million to have somebody take the test and everything for you to get you in. And that one girl was on social media saying that she just wanted the college experience. Like she's not even really trying or anything.
Right.
There. The daughter. So, but that's going to be one of those people that 4 or 5 years from now is going to have a good ass job because they went to Princeton or Harvard or one of the, it's garbage.
If you got money, you're going places. If you don't, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
Me getting into college was all me. I got no help, no financial help, no essay proof readings, no, and I would be a second generation college graduate. My dad graduated from, where did he go? I think he was in Jackson, Mississippi. Years ago, of course, like back in the 80s. But it didn't translate well because, he got a job in the workforce instead of wanting to do what we do now, which is like start off at an entry level and then work your way up. Because back then you could just drive a bus or work in a factory.
Oh yeah, I mean even well into the 90s.
Yeah,
obviously there were dips in the economy, but I remember around the time where I started working, like you could still walk into an establishment and be like, "Hey, y'all hiring?" and they just might hire you that day.
Exactly.
Like that is unheard of.
Exactly.
In 2019.
So he got out of college and he made the decision. He was like, I could do an entry level thing and work my way up and so on and so forth, or I could just get a job doing this. And he got a job. And so his priorities are a little bit different because now we're in a completely different economy. So it would be second generation college graduate, but kind of, sort of. No, it would be second generation. I don't want to take his degree away from him. But he was one of the ones like, man, fuck that. You could just get a job doing this, blah, 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 because he didn't know how to translate the economy. Like it's different times.
It depends. I would definitely say there's nothing wrong with pursuing a 4-year degree, but we saw for at least a decade we were teaching young people to have this tunnel vision, and there's so many things you can do, certifications you can get, and skills that you can acquire that, you know, are not equivalent on the educational skill, but you're specialized in a way where you can have a career in something and be
Yes.
paid well.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, higher education and skill in general, yes, pursue that. Don't work retail forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4-year degree is, and you know, the things you were saying, it's like, that's probably the reason you had to take a break, because you have to work full time. You have
Yes.
to take loans out.
Yes.
You don't have the same mentorship that some of these
Yes.
people have.
You don't have the passion for what you're following either. Because you
Right.
feel like you had the tunnel vision from being coached into the shit.
And we know that in this day and age, you're not guaranteed shit when you get out of
You
college.
definitely aren't. And you
Unlike
still have
these
to pay that back.
rich
Yep.
motherfuckers.
Exactly. Listen, I feel like everyone listening to this shit is around the same age as us, in the same generation, whatever else. I didn't finish college. You know, I did a year at UIC, and I was just like, hey, this shit kind of expensive. I'm going to hold off. The thing I've learned, I don't know who needs to hear it, is just go to college for yourself. I think we know that already, because this generation is kind of jaded when it comes to that shit. We're like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'm not paying this back, not paying that back. But at the same time,
Well, college debt is one of the worst debts you can have.
it is.
It doesn't even go away with bankruptcy.
Nope. It's stuck to you. Like,
So
ooh.
I mean, it's really sad that you have to make a decision like that about your future. You have to make a well-informed financial decision about your future when you're like 17 years old.
Right. Not knowing the repercussions. You have to invest in yourself without knowing how to invest.
So, for
In
instance, I am now debt free because the statute of limitations passed on my debt.
A word.
Right? And it's like, wow, that feels great. I didn't have to pay off that money I owed. Like, I didn't have to, because I was about to get on a payment plan and knock it out because I'm trying to get my credit real high and shit. And then
Word.
planning for future stuff. And I went to this seminar about home buying and credit and everything. And in Illinois, it's about 10 years. I got a credit card when I was really young. I had automatic bill pay set up, and I guess I didn't do it right. So I thought, I'm not the type of person that checks my bank account every day.
No, yeah.
And I only had like $1,500 on the card.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, it's taking out, $100 a month, whatever, not thinking about it.
Uh-huh.
It didn't get paid.
It didn't get paid.
So then they closed my card, and I was like, fuck. And then I got laid off, and I was just like, I just didn't think about
You
it.
just like, what? Yeah, you just like, I'm in the shit.
So now it's closed, but I guess my point being, if you have $100,000 in student debt, you have to pay that.
You got to pay that.
There's
shit.
literally no way. And then the idea that this student loan forgiveness, it's like, well, that's socialist nonsense. It's like, dude, we need to invest in our young people in education.
Yeah.
Because, the people that claim to love this country and America first and everything, how can you not, in the same breath of saying that, say that you want everybody to be educated and fed and taken care of? It's not about handouts or anything, I wouldn't say.
No, it's not.
It's like you have a whole generation of people who we've made it where higher education is not worth it to them. So we're just going to have, not to knock this profession, but like we just have a whole generation of baristas now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how is that supposed to work moving forward?
Yeah. I think maybe people are starting to look back into vocational things a little bit more now, because people stop being carpenters and electricians. And then, like, now that they've decided college isn't it, I think we have an influx of individuals who are like, you know what, I'm going to learn how to work some wood.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the trades are definitely a way to go, but like everybody can't do that.
Everybody can.
As much as certain people talk shit about certain fields, they all have their place to whatever extent. And you need people to be teachers. You need people to go to school.
That's a fact.
For dance.
So we need to make it worthwhile for these people.
Yeah.
We need to look out for them, because we just going to be fucked in the long run if we don't. Now, switching off the Amber Heard situation, it's just really unfortunate that this happened and she was the aggressor and this is what's going on, because I know there's a bunch of shitheads who were just waiting to be like, see, this is why we can't believe women outright from the get-go without knowing the facts.
Yeah.
And I understand where they're coming from, because this situation, because it just ended up like, but she can't represent all women the same way. If something would have happened to a black dude, I wouldn't expect like him to represent all of us.
Right.
We talked about this last episode. No matter who you are or what's going on, if someone does some fuck shit, people use it as an excuse to say it represents you if you are anyway related.
And we kind of, without being explicit, we reference the Jussie thing a little bit right now. Yeah. And that's still interesting.
Yeah. Did any new shit happen from that? Like 16 counts of federal fraudulent tomfoolery?
They felt like the smoking gun was the check that he gave those guys. But then, sure, it could be a cover, but I think those guys were buff. He said that it was for training. It would make sense for him to have personal trainers. He's, on TV.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know where this is going. He could be lying. But like I said, when I first heard about it, I'm like, wow, that sounds crazy. I guess we'll see where this goes. Yeah. I don't think you need to have an opinion about everything as soon as something happens.
No, you don't need to important. Pick a stance. It's okay.
Especially when it's just some guy on TV who's really not that famous.
Exactly. I hope the tip of Johnny Depp's finger grows back okay, if it has not already. I don't know if it was bitten off. That was just nasty. We were EMTs, and I haven't seen a finger injury like that.
Yeah, no.
In person. It was meaty.
I tell everybody about the dick injury lately. I've been telling that story.
You've been telling that story? Yeah. You haven't told an EMT story. You want to get that out right now?
Sure. It's so.
I told 2. He ain't told none. Let's get it.
What the fuck? So we got a call. It was about, I think they just told us it was like an uncontrolled bleed, right? In a nursing home. Uh-huh. So that could mean an old person fell and hit their head, and maybe there's blood coming out of their mouth, out of their ear. They got a cut over their eye. Like, I don't know. So we get over there. We're like, all right, where's he at? They point us to the room. I turn, I look in the room, and there's just an old black dude sitting on the edge of the bed facing the door. And he's like, like over and over again. And I see his face, and I start like scrolling down, and he's holding a bloody rag, like a towel, on his crotch. And there's blood dripping off the edge of the bed onto the floor, and there's a whole pool of blood on the floor. And I'm like, okay. So I start asking him. I was like, hey, what's going on? Are you in pain? What's happening? He said that he was supposed to get his catheter taken out that day, like for good. And they were busy. It's possible they were dragging, whatever. Oh. But he was like, man, fuck this shit. Oh, no. And ripped it out of his penis. So here's something that perhaps you may not even know about catheters. So like they put it in, and then they it gets anchored in there. Yeah. So you can't. If they didn't do that, it would just fall out. So he tore his urethra, and as we know, penis is very vascular because it has to fill up with blood to get a boner. So his shit was just mad leaking, and I was like, hey, you're putting good pressure on that, right? Because I don't want to do it. I mean, I'll do my job, but it's like, I don't want to have to, because I'm thinking about like, you hold the dick like this, and then you just put your hand over the top.
Like a soda bottle that's been shaken up, and you trying to stop it from like bust. You got to put your finger in the tip a little bit just to stop it from skeeting off.
And then the best part about this is, I guess they called the fire department too for some reason. So I'm talking to the guy, and then they show up behind me, and my partner's like, you didn't touch him yet, did you? And I was like, no. He's like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
Because that's the law. Like,
yes.
We like, I think it's it's a razor edge thing, but I think to make patient contact and have them be your patient,
that's your patient. That's your patient. It's either touching or a signing of papers, like either or.
So I asked him a couple things, but I never got within like 5. I was talking to him from the doorway. Yeah. And then CFD got there, and I was like, all right, they got it.
Yeah, nah, I'd have left that.
Could. Well, I mean, he probably died or something in their case,
Yeah.
They're lazy motherfuckers.
I bet they walked in and was like, you can walk to the cart, right? Oh, they do it. You can walk, right? Come on, let's walk.
My mom was telling me that she saw this dude. It was like right after I became an EMT. So, she starts noticing more shit, even though she has a medical background too. Yeah. She saw this dude get hit by a car. He was riding a bike. And that the CFD got there. And okay, like protocol is, like if you are in a C-spine, right, a physical accident like that, they're supposed to hold your neck, make sure your
Steady.
back doesn't move. You
Sure,
get
it's
the
lateral.
neck brace, you're on the backboard,
brace.
all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
She says she walked by and they were like, "Hey, can you get up? Are you hurt?" And it's like, no.
That is so on brand.
I mean, if he ended up paralyzed, you know how much money he would get from the city?
A lot. That was a lot. It's a lot.
These motherfuckers don't care, man.
Nah, they really don't. Sometimes they get burnt out. Sometimes they go in with that mentality, like, "Hey, yo, fuck it."
Friend of the podcast, real quick. Friend of the podcast, Jeffrey. He is a
Cool
GAYmer
Yeah, that's
gamer.
True. Yes.
You know, he's a big dude. He wears
Thick.
his weight well, but you know, he's a thick boy, strong
Sturdy.
boy. He got heartburn so bad that he called the ambulance,
Mm-hmm.
and they picked him up, and they gave him heart attack medicine. It didn't hurt him any, but I'm just like,
Like what?
all right, you're not gonna hook him up to a EKG, anything like that. You just see an overweight guy, and you're like,
Oh yeah, he on his way.
chest pain,
He
I
on his
guess
way.
technically.
Yeah, here, take this.
It's fucking wild. Anyway,
All right, look. Last thing I want to bring back is FUBU and how they're relaunching their clothing line. I don't even want to talk about it that much, but I just want to state that I'm really excited about it. And
I want to know if the clothes are going to be big or not.
baby fat too,
Because
is
I've
coming
been
back.
saying, like, we all know that fashion is cyclical. You know, fucking bell bottoms are making a comeback, all this shit. People dress all disgusting like they're in the 90s right now. I hate it.
They do.
But you know that big ass clothes are about to come back. Like 2001, everybody's going to be looking like Saint Lunatics
NBA
again.
patches and Air Force Ones
And fucking sweatbands and shit.
No, exactly.
So I want to know are these FUBU clothes finna be big as fuck?
yeah,
And are we going to see some Fat Albert shit?
yeah. I mean, I feel like that's necessary.
Fat Albert.
You know, it's not gonna be big as fuck though.
A Fat Albert t-shirt down to your knees.
Nah, that's excessive.
Do you remember what Soulja Boy looked like when he came out?
I do. He was wearing a parachute.
Yeah.
He was just dancing. And
We're
it was
going to look
swaying.
like that again eventually.
I don't know if I'm gonna be doing that. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I can't go back.
Well,
I lived it. I can't.
You
go
might
back.
be too old. I don't know if you could be 35. Like, what's
No,
up,
I can't.
everybody?
I am a young fellow myself. Yeah, I'm not gonna be doing it.
I too bought some big ass pants.
Look at this 4X T-shirt.
Put
I
some
got
rubber
on.
bands on the bottom so you can
Motherfuckers
see
used
my
to be
sneakers.
butt naked under that shit too. No undershirt, no nothing. Just a big ass shirt. I know he was cold. Nipples was all hard poking through the shirt. Shit, it was a rough time. It was lawless. The early 2000s were lawless. We was doing shit we should not have been doing. But that's pretty
Sipping
much
on scissor,
et
cetera.
etc. Did you have anything you want to go over?
Yeah.
Some quick hits. Reggie's quick hits. That's
At
what
least,
we gonna call it.
so I'm sure you saw this on Twitter where they didn't. It was weird because I don't know if this lady did it on purpose, but she tweeted it out. She showed the picture and like a little snippet of the story, but
Her
didn't.
grandpa was eating paint. That shit was crazy. I was
No,
like,
what
damn.
the fuck are you talking about?
I'm joking. Go ahead.
She was so she didn't link to the article, and I feel like it was very misleading. So I just like to know shit. I don't like being fucking manipulated, whatever. So the story is this lady tweeted like, oh, this young woman, she hit a whole family of black people and she's only getting however many months in jail, right? So
Right.
I looked it up. And look, she probably was looking at her phone. But let me give you the whole fucking story. So she's driving down the road. They don't have any proof that she was looking at her phone. Her last text was sent minutes before the crash, and there were like no apps open or anything, right? They looked into her phone. She's driving down the road. A family crosses at night, not in a crosswalk, they're black, wearing dark colors, trying to get to a concert, apparently. And as a driver myself, I've almost hit some people because so when I was growing up, and I think we've touched on this before, I was taught like, hey, you should probably watch out for cars. Cars are dangerous. They may not always see you. Something about driving lately, the last couple of years, like people just don't give a fuck. They just be out here. And it's like, you're never going to win that matchup.
No.
Same with cyclists, man. Like, one of my friends from high school was killed by a drunk driver biking home from work, So like, and I used to ride a bicycle to get around everywhere. Like, I get it. I was a cyclist, but at the same time, I be driving. These motherfuckers be going crazy. Don't have a light on their bike. Be weaving in and out of all this shit. Riding the wrong way down the street. And it's like, you just have to be realistic. Should drivers pay more attention? Of course. Should people be texting and driving? No. But you have to understand that a percentage of drivers are going to be doing that.
Right.
And you can be, even if you are right, you could be as right as you want, but you'll be dead.
What would you say if I were to tell you that I might have been in a vehicle as someone was clipped-ish? Nothing major, but like minor contact. This is a hypothetical situation.
Yeah, sure.
So would your opinion of me change?
If you hit somebody?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
In the situation, I didn't do it. I was
Okay.
in the passenger seat in this hypothetical situation.
And you kept going?
Huh?
Well, you got to tell a story so I can have an opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this.
Look. In this hypothetical situation, it wasn't like a direct impact. It wasn't like a roll off the car. Like,
Yeah.
Let's just say it was like a guy walking, no, white dude, suitcase, and like a suit on. And he's like, oh, and did that thing like where he's like.
So what, I'm curious, were you just going straight? Were you making a left turn?
In this hypothetical situation, it was a right turn.
A right turn. Did they run out? Well, still.
It was raining
So
in this hypothetical situation. So I think the hypothetical answer would be yes.
As long as you know that they were okay. So
yeah,
I got clipped by a car once. I was walking next. So I was parked on the right side of the street, meaning the driver's side door is going to be on the left. So if I'm so like basically I spent the last 2 car lengths walking in the street technically, but it's like I would be that far out if I'm getting into my car anyway. So I didn't think there was an issue. And this minivan was driving like hella fast down the side street. And they broke their mirror off on the back of my arm. And I was like, well, it hurts a little bit, but like, whatever. And they were like, I'm pretty sure I heard the passenger go, oh, fuck. And then they just peeled out. But it's like, so I'm sure that guy was fine. But like, I've made left turns at night where like, I never saw the person. Yeah. Never. Yeah. Because, you know, it's at night. You have your A-pillar right there. And they're looking at their phone. Right. And it's like, okay. And the same thing with rain. Like, you're making a right turn. You're sitting on the left side of the car. Yeah, you're looking, but you can't see everything. Yeah. Like, whenever I'm a pedestrian, if I'm crossing the street, even if it's at a stop sign, I try to make eye contact with the driver. So it's like, hey, you're stopping and I'm going, right? Like, good. We're all good.
Exactly.
It's not that hard to do.
Even though I make fun of Ludacris and how his music hasn't aged well most of the time, he asked the important questions, which include, is there a bumper on your ass? And the answer is no, nigga. So you should act accordingly.
So, you know, people jumped on this because it was, you know, a white versus black crime. A 3-month-old died. But, you know, and again, this lady might have been on her phone a little bit, but look, why are you crossing the street like that with cars coming, holding a 3-month-old at that? Even if you're walking across the street with a 10-year-old, you shouldn't be doing that. You know, like so when I'm driving, sometimes Google Maps will take you down a side street and then try to make you make a left turn across like a 4-lane street, a busy street. Right. I don't always do it. No. I'll take the longer way. Same with walking. Sometimes you just got to go to the crosswalk. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. I'd rather take 30 seconds longer and live. Like, I don't know if you guys notice when you use Google Maps, right? It'll be like, okay, you're 20 minutes away. If you do the speed limit versus doing 15 minutes or 15 miles per hour over the speed limit, you still pretty much get there at the same time. Yeah. So
it's not that serious.
Fucking chill. How about that?
Relax.
That might be it. I don't know. How long are we going? What are we at?
1:30.
Okay, well, yeah, we're done. Hour and a half.
All right. Thanks for listening to this episode. We appreciate you guys sliding in. We say the same thing every episode. That's because it's true. We could plug our stuff again. I think we've done that last episode. But
yeah, we're going to get into the habit of doing what successful podcasters do. So,
yes, exactly.
Yes, please give us 5 stars on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter.
We are on Spotify.
Oh, we didn't tell nobody.
Yeah,
no. Holy fuck.
We are on Spotify. Yes. So if you look up Spit Sessions on Spotify, this is the first episode being released while we're on there. Like, we've never been on there before this episode. So Yeah.
Well, all of our back catalog is on there now.
It's on there, but you can find us on Spotify. And if you are listening to us on Spotify, you are a part of a new wave of individuals to consume this podcast. It's really cool to get on there. I'm really excited to add another platform to the list of things that we can include in our repertoire. So we want to thank everybody for checking us out, because without you guys, I literally don't think we would be able to get on there. Because I think you might need a certain amount of engagements or episodes up. Who knows what the formula is? I do not know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give y'all credit for some shit that you may or may not.
No, it
have
is
done.
big. When me and Delancey had a quick discussion about how we want to try to grow the podcast moving forward, and we were a little bit surprised by how well we were doing in the last couple of months.
No, fact.
I know that when we started, things were moving a little faster than we thought, and we were super thankful for that. But like, just seeing where we are now, we're not getting 10,000 listens an episode, but it's
every listen counts. It's been growing.
We're doing well.
Yeah.
And we want to keep doing better. And the better we do, then we can give back.
Yeah, exactly.
More contests and meet and greets. Hey, maybe you could win a chance to go to Medieval Times with us. I don't know.
I've never been, so that would be exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
They give you a whole chicken.
Yeah. Damn, the whole chicken.
Or half. I don't know. You got to eat with your hands.
It'd be a big ass leg. I want utensils, but all right, I'm picky. I don't like greasy shit on my fingers like that.
So yes, rate us on iTunes. Check us out on Spotify. Follow us on Twitter. We will talk to you. We're friendly. Watch us stream on Twitch, but more him because I don't stream that much. And this is our first video episode. We're going to be doing video for every episode moving forward. Eventually, we will have 2 cameras, and it will look professional and mo better. So look forward to following us on YouTube as well.
Yes, thank you. We love you. Goodbye.
Use your common sense. Use your common sense.